What? It's true.
Hey everybody, Vickie here, and today on Tea Time Tuesday I have a very special guest, my very first-born child, Stephanie. You guys might have seen her around. She does a lot of photography and she's graduating this year with a degree in graphics and a minor in photography. So we wanted to talk about brand colors today, and just so you guys know, no, she did not help me with my brand colors. And yes, she's been complaining about them for years. And she's going to be revamping my website, which I'm really, really excited about because it was a DIY by yours truly, and it needs an upgrade. So she's going to be doing that for me as well. And today we're going to be talking about your brand colors. There is a bit.ly link that you guys can find in this live stream to go ahead and download what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to go ahead and share this out and make sure we're live streaming. And Stephanie, what would you like to share? Oh, and we have our tea. I gotta tell you first too, okay? Wait, before you start. My cup, she got me my cup. And if you guys know me very well, I'm always saying that I want to be rainbow, which she says I can't be on my website. But my cup is rainbow today. I'm very happy.
Okay.
All right, go for it. What are you sharing about the colors?
So I wanted to do kind of like a deconstructed graphic standards manual. It's something that the graphic design industry uses, but I feel like not everyone here is a graphic designer, so I kind of broke it up, and then at the end I'll link an example of one of my favorite graphic standards manual, and you can compare the differences and kind of see how mine is more a step-by-step, and then kind of what the final product would be. So we talk about colors, we talk about patterns, shapes, fonts, and web and photo consistencies. That's a lot.
Okay,
cool. But it's only 10 pages,
So what should we be looking for when we look for our colors?
Well, if you have looked at that bit.ly, you should be able to come up with this PDF. Failure as a graphic designer right now. I forgot to put page numbers on it.
That's okay.
So we're gonna look at.
Want to look at it from here rather than there?
Well, I guess it doesn't. Okay, so last night I asked Mom what a couple of.
Say hello, so we know you're here.
I asked Mom what a couple of her brand adjectives that she wanted to portray.
Ooh, that would be cool, guys. Hey, put in what you think my adjectives would be. I came up with some, but share. Tell me what you think they are. Okay.
So I chose 4. You don't have to choose 4. 4 is kind of a lot sometimes. I would suggest 2 to 4. So I chose bold, classy, friendly / trustworthy, and then wisdom and knowledge.
Which is purple. That's me. See,
purple. And so these are adjectives that you want your brand to portray, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And so literally all you have to do is type in bold colors and it'll come up, or classy colors, or I have attached this thing at the bottom here that kind of gives you different brands on a color scale and tells you their adjectives and what they kind of are associated with. And so if you go back up...
Do you want to flip the screen so that they can see the PDF instead?
What are you talking about?
We can do it my so very high-tech way. This is going to be a treat. All right, here we go.
Wait, then you should use my computer because I can do it this way.
Here we go.
Because I have this guy.
Okay, that's fine. All right, guys, here's a screenshot of my closet. Then here is our so very technical way. Well, share screen, because we don't have share screen.
It's crooked.
Yes, it is. It's all right. All right. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. There we go. This is good. Now you can see what she's talking about. In the PDF, you can download it at the bit.ly. It's bit.ly/yourbrand design. No, sorry. bit.ly design your brand colors.
Okay. So mom's 4 words are over here. Wow, I need to paint my nails. And so bold colors just kind of translate over to colors with high contrast that are either that have high contrast on either black or white. Classy colors are often colors associated with time that are timeless. So like a black and white portrait is typically what gets associated with the word classy. If you look down to the color spectrum here at the bottom, it tells you that friendly and trustworthy is kind of orange and blue tones, and then wisdom is purple. So on this other side, you can go in here and fill in the blanks. So your word is, and then, oh, I can't see anything.
I see it.
I don't know.
That's all right. Catherine, try to refresh. I see it on my Facebook, so try refreshing your screen. Reload the page. Okay, keep going.
So you can take your brand adjectives and put them over there, and then the example lines are for colors underneath them. So now that we're here, you can see that all of the words that I've come up with for mom gives her a bunch of colors that I would not recommend using all of them.
It's a rainbow! See, it matches me! I told you.
That's a little bit too much.
Over the top, eh?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to build her color palette up using the word association. So on the left here, you can see kind of the step-by-step system of what I use to getting a color palette. So your color 1 is dark. This should be your main body text or your main type text on your page. And then skipping down all the way to the bottom, did you know black is not necessarily the best text color? This is because black is the highest contrasted color against white. If you read black text against white text for a long time, it can strain the eyes. Think about it. Most books are printed on an off-white. To combat this issue, try a dark brown, gray, blue, or purple. And so that is kind of related back to color 1, which on the right-hand side you see over here. On the camera, it's showing up very dark, but if you go into the color hue, it's actually a very, very deep purple. So color 2 should be your eye-catching pick-me color. Think your action buttons. So if you're on your page and your body copy is in this dark color, what's going to be contrasted against it that draws your eye, that says, oh, this is where the action is, this is where I should be drawn to. Under that is a secondary color, color 3. This should complement your primary color without overwhelming it. So here on the right, I have chosen this darker blue that relates back to friendly, and you can see that they all have the words associated with them. And if you go back to this page, and you can see the colors underneath. So this wisdom is a brighter purple, and I've made it a darker purple that still has the wisdom characteristics, but in a way that's not an overwhelming purple to put with the other colors. And then your 4th color should be a neutral, and it can be used for inverted lettering. So you could put this color on top of this or the others. And then the 5th color is optional, but it should complement your 2nd and 3rd colors. A trick to seeing if your colors all work together is simply just covering one of them up at a time and seeing if it still is a color palette that can work. How do you feel about those? This doesn't have to be your all color palette.
They're very similar to the ones that I do like. I do like orange, which is that peachy thing. I like a purple that's a little more purple. This is similar to what I have.
Yeah, that's why I picked it.
I'm not sure about that. I've gone back and forth about the blues for a very long time. The blue and gray thing.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's not bold enough for me.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm a big personality.
I know.
All right, next page.
This is all just purely example. This is
I have not seen this yet, guys, so this is the unveiling of...
This is not the law.
This
You
is
do
not
not
the
have
law.
to do it this way.
Ooh, I like those patterns.
Okay, yes. So we have taken her 4 brand attributes, and I literally just went Google bold patterns. And so these first 4 are bold patterns, and the second 4 are classy patterns. Knowledgeable and friendly isn't really a pattern
Yeah,
search.
this one reminds me of like a
It's a
business suit.
pinstripe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a business suit. That's kind of cool.
And so the whole idea is that you can cut and paste whatever you feel is a pattern that reflects whatever words that you have chosen. And so I grabbed a pinstripe and I grabbed this bold pattern, and I took the color palette and I was playing around with just different things. I thought this emulated this more, and having a finer line reflected to a pinstripe. So it could go either bold or classy, or you could do classier lines with bold colors. And that's kind of how you do that. And then just on the right, there's a quick shape theory. There's a ton of this stuff online. So square, rectangle, constant, sturdy. Circle is soft and friendly. Triangles are sharp and active.
I like circles.
Yes. So I gave you like a couple examples. Again, not the like rule,
Okay.
but just you could use bold, thicker weights as borders. You could use them like repetitive circles as like a division or something.
Or like a watermark if you're doing PDFs or something.
Yeah.
Some sort of design in the background. Yeah.
So that's shape theory. Okay, this is kind of a lot of text on a page. But I hope that it's good for people who are going to watch this later. So on the left-hand side, it's the 4 main kinds of fonts. So you have a serif font that has feet, a sans serif which has no feet, a script font that mimics handwriting and usually has connecting letters, and then a display font for bold headers, and it's not used a lot through your like page. So on the right hand side, I've kind of given you a couple key points to mixing and matching and figuring out what fonts you should use. So there should be a visual hierarchy. It's the order of the fonts that you use from largest to smallest. The most basic visual hierarchy should go in order similar to this: header, subheader, body, caption, or footnote. If you look above here, mix and match is in a 22-point font and bold to show that it's your title. And the visual hierarchy is in a 20-point font and it's semi-bold, which shows a subheader. And then the
How
body
do you get
copy.
semi-bold? I only get bold and not bold.
You have to pick a bigger font family.
Oh. Okay.
And so this would be a visual hierarchy. And you can exaggerate a visual hierarchy by putting things in bold and in a different color, or you could have a very drastic difference between this mix and match and the visual hierarchy. You can kind of play around to whatever you like. So there's a bunch of different places online where you can find mixing serif and sans serif fonts. So it's these two over here. Most commonly mixed fonts are those with feet and those without. My personal favorite combos are Helvetica and Garamond, Bodoni and Futura, Franklin Gothic and Bakersville. These are all default fonts that you should already have installed on your computer.
Oh, that's a good point, because when I first made my website many, many years ago, when I was in wellness, some people would go to my website and I had a font on there that was really cool, but their computer didn't contain the font. So then when they looked at my website, it defaulted to something really ugly.
Yep.
So although fonts are really great, Like the cool ones that you can download and specifically put to your computer, those are not probably the ones you should use on your website.
Correct.
You could use them in your PDFs or stuff like that, but yeah, I remember that happened.
Yeah, to check out if your fonts work or not, you can just Google search default web fonts, and it should tell you what are kind of basic. So these font combos that I've put in here should be on most computers, should come with your computers. I try to stay away from anything that you would have to go download, but there are plenty of options out there. You can even Pinterest it. They're really cute. Create contrast. If you're going to mix two fonts, it's best to keep them not the same. Because if they're too close, then it's very confusing on the eye. If you don't like any of the suggested pairs, try putting a cute fun font with an all caps bold, or a bold typeface with a swirly font. Again, if you just look at on Pinterest, there's plenty of ideas and things to be inspired by.
So basically you're saying don't use two fonts with feet together.
Correct.
Don't use two script fonts together.
Correct.
So mix and match them so that they're easy to read and they stand out.
So then this next point, can't get your fonts to look right together, because that is always an issue for me. Is I think that fonts look good in my head or next to each other, and then I start typing with them and they just don't work at all. So try matching fonts with similar X heights. You literally type an X in both fonts and they should be the same height. Now it doesn't have to be that one font is 12-point font and the other font is in 12-point font. It could be that your X heights are the same, where one font is 12-point and the other is 30-point.
Interesting.
And that's where you really have to kind of play and match. So for some of you that makes sense, and for some of you you're probably like, that's really confusing, or it's not a priority to you that your fonts are thought out this much.
But I think it really matters, because sometimes I get emails where like the fonts are almost impossible to read. Yeah, and because they found some cute curly font or something and they put this all over the place, it makes people skip that section of what you're writing if it takes too much time. Like I read it because it was my friend's stuff. But if it wasn't my friend's stuff, I would have skipped over it because it wasn't worth the effort.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if creating your fonts is a lot, you can try using fonts from the same family. So this is when you said that you don't have enough options. You can go and look online to see what font families you do have options for. Or you might just have bold, regular, light, or italics. You can use the bold for a header, regular for a body copy, and light for anything in between. And this kind of will give you the differential that you need. So this whole PDF is made from one font. It's just different weights and sizes. Okay, moving on. Oh gosh. So these, oh wait, sorry, go back. So your brand attributes are bold, classy, knowledgeable, friendly. Classy is most associated with a serif font because it's what they used in standard letterpressing, and is kind of more of a old font.
I'm old. It's alright, I'm old.
So keeping...
Oh, I like the ombres.
Okay, those are not ombre, they're gradients.
Ombre.
Okay. Okay. So I chose Bodoni and Futura for you. I personally just love these pairs. I think Bodoni is really easy to read, and I like using it as a body copy, and I think Futura is really modern and has a lot of different size options, and they pair well together. This is an example of the pair that I had recommended on the first page. So this is kind of where your brand is at, your colors, your shapes, your fonts. Over on the right, I didn't know what to put over here because I couldn't put the next page in because I needed both sides, so I put gradients. So you can see, it kind of resembles like the Spotify trend right now that's very in of overlaying gradients on things.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving forward. So here are some photography and web consistencies. So on the left, these are all default examples from Canva. As a designer, I personally don't use Canva because I have access to all the expensive Adobe products, but I know that's not the reality for all of you. So these are all defaults on Canva that you can choose from. And so they all say something different. You can read underneath kind of what they give to the photo. So I chose the color filter over part of the image to create a contrast. I chose this because it shows the whole picture, relating it to friendly. You're not hiding anything. I chose it because it gives me an opportunity to add a bold text without overwhelming the image. In this photo particularly, you probably would have been okay with just overlaying the text on that side because it is so neutral anyway, and it's a light color and you have a black text. But this is really good if your background is a little too busy or if you just want a color pop.
Okay.
We're almost done. Oh, sorry.
So this one here, if I wanted to get a photo to look like that, though, I'd have to get somebody to do it for me. I can't just put it in Canva and put a gradient over it, I don't think.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't use Canva.
All right.
I'll
I'll just have you do mine.
Okay. Is that what you want your style to be?
No.
That's not really your style.
No, not necessarily, but hey, it's fun.
Okay. Oh, pictures.
Pictures of me.
Your photos and your graphics should match the rest of your brand. Wow, there's a spelling error in there.
That's okay.
Photos and graphics can often get overlooked. This could be from having no experience with either or not having it be a priority. If these are your colors, it's a good start to have a cohesive brand that you wear colors as similar as your like color palette.
But that doesn't mean you can't ever deviate.
No, I never said that.
No. I'm just saying that because I was told that very, very early on by somebody who said she was a brand specialist, and that basically anything that I wore in my photos had to be either purple or turquoise. Like I had no deviation. I wasn't allowed to wear.
Look at this dress you're wearing now. It doesn't
I know.
match the
What
color
I'm saying
palette.
is that I don't want anybody to think that they can't wear anything outside of it because that's what I was led to believe by somebody first on. And I was like, oh crap, my whole entire wardrobe needs to be only 2 colors, and that was very sad because I'm rainbow, as you can see with the dress. Okay.
So this is definitely not an exact science, but you can see on the right that the photos on the top have cool tones, as does the color palette, and that the orange in my palette is reflected in her skin tone and her hair. And the pictures below the photo is dominantly yellow over here, this background color, and then this doesn't reflect the lightness of the colors in your palette. But you can see that like your dress isn't in your color palette, but choosing smart backgrounds helps to add to your color palette. And then at the bottom, I just checked that the colors that I picked worked in an overlay on the photo.
Okay.
We're on the last page. How long has this been?
It has been 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay. We made it. We talked about it all. Very fast. But for me, as a photographer, it's... Mom is a word person. Yes. I am a visual person.
I'm a visual person, too.
Yeah, but you're more of a word person.
In a different way, yes.
So I think that I started with my work and worked backwards. So I focused on my photos. I wanted to build a brand around that. I typically edit photos like this on the left, and then there's a shameless plug for my Instagram.
Go follow her on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Photography by Effie.
Oh yes, Photography by Effie. Go follow it.
So I generally have washed out skies that turn into a gray blue. I mainly shoot outdoors, so I typically have some green somewhere in the background. And my skin tones are pretty washed out as well, and it's not a lot of harsh contrast. Therefore, when choosing colors for my brand, I don't want extreme colors or contrast that don't match the aesthetic of my photos. So Adobe Capture is a really cool app that scans a photo and picks colors out of it to make a color palette. Listed below is what Adobe told me my dominant colors were for the photos. I don't know if Adobe Capture works without an Adobe account. Some of the Adobe apps will let you try it out for free, but they don't have anywhere to save it to. So you might be able to just screenshot it. I did upload a new Adobe app last night just to see if I could use it without signing in, and I could.
I'll flip it back.
No, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
And so I think it should be fine. But anyway, I used Adobe Capture, and these are the colors that were most commonly found over there. So from here, I can see that greens, blues, washout peaches, grays, and creams are staple colors that run through my work. And then this chooses a light, airy color palette for my brand, because I don't want to interrupt my photos with something like a magenta, because that doesn't make sense for me. Even if it might work with the words that I have picked and the words that I associate with my brand, it doesn't make any sense with the work that I've done.
Yeah, but if somebody else wanted that for their brand, you could obviously take that picture for them. This just happens to be your brand.
Yeah, this is my brand. Okay,
cool. Well, let's flip back around.
We said okay at the same time.
Because we are twinsies. All right, guys. So I know that people will be watching the replay, and there's a lot of information here.
Sorry.
So make sure, don't be sorry. Make sure you download that PDF, because it's very, very helpful, and you'll be able to use that, you know, for many months to come, figuring out colors. I know that people are often rebranding and things like that, so it's a good thing to refer back to, and all the stuff about the fonts and which ones to choose, which ones go together. And also, if you're watching the replay afterwards, if you have any questions, go ahead and let us know, and we'll come back and answer them. So I know there's a few people here. If you guys have questions, I should have said this earlier, you should have asked questions as we went. Do you have anything going on? I would love it if you shared, you know, what your brand colors were and how you felt about them, or if you felt like it reflected, or maybe any kind of issues that you're having with your website and how you'd like to see those changed, or if you have suggestions, things like that. Obviously, Stephanie can help you, but, you know, hey. And she's only in town here. The reason why we're doing this in person is she's in town in Michigan until Friday, and then she's going back to LA. So
Where it's warm.
where it's warm, yes, it's like -10 here.
And it's like 70 back
crazy.
home.
That's why she went to California for college. But if you guys have any needs, you know, if you want a photo shoot done or something like that, she's fully available in the LA area. She's a little bit outside of LA, but she's often in LA and like San Diego and, you know, places like that. So
Vegas.
Oh my gosh. So obviously, if you need any types of photos, she can match your brand. She can do an interview prior to, make sure that it's all matching. And if you need website help, you can hire her too.
Catherine said, I haven't found colors at all. Well, here you go. You can start.
Catherine, what are your words? What kind of words do you want to describe your brand and who you are and what you represent? You can start there. Grab my computer, put it on the floor. All right, so if you guys don't have any questions, we will be hopping off. Yeah.
I just got a big chunk.
She has hot cocoa.
Whatever powder
big
that
chunk
was.
of powder. Yeah. Mine is like a herbal hazelnut coffee, but it's not coffee, it's herbal. It's pretty cool. It's actually neat. They can make coffee. They can make it taste like coffee by putting in chicory root. It's pretty neat.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. That's an inside joke. Her brother does that. Right. So I don't see any other questions here, but if you guys do have questions later on, let us know. Like I said, we will stop back and see if there are any questions, and we'll give more contact information on stuff in the comments so that you can get your photographs done too. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Press the button.
Oh, wait, where?
Where it says finish.